Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another South Park review, an SMB, Suck My Balls, a South Park review. This is season 26, episode number 3, Japanese Toilet. But before we get into it, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and you'll be notified when more content like this drops. Normally I'm not alone as I'm normally joined by 2 or 3 other guys, but on this eve, we thought we'd try something a little bit different, as I deliver to you a quick recap and review here on this week's episode. So it starts off here just with a typical day at Integrity Farm. Randy's on the couch and he's playing Hogwarts on the PlayStation 5. Stan is, of course, negging him on that he wants to play, that would like an opportunity to play, but in typical dad fashion, I think we've all experienced this, Randy himself will not let go of the controller. That is until, of course, Sharon asks for his assistance in the bathroom.
See, Stan, you gotta choose if you want to be in Gryffindor or Slytherin.
Yeah, can I do it?
Yeah, see, you gotta fight these fairy guys.
Randy? The powder room toilet is broken again!
So not even 2 or 3 minutes in, South Park is already making commentary on the controversy that happened over the last couple months with the Hogwarts game. I guess you'd say the last couple years since the game was announced, but more importantly, as the game has been leading up to it, there have been a lot of people upset over the fact that J.K. Rowling, the original creator of Harry Potter herself, didn't have a lot of nice things to say about the LGBTQ+A community. South Park itself went ahead and made a little jest at it right there that, hey, we're playing Hogwarts too. Back upstairs now, as Sharon had requested Randy's assistance, Randy comes to find that Old Blue, which is the name he's given this blue toilet, is coming to the end of its life cycle. He treats it kind of like a family member. What did you do? You gotta give it some love. There is a very funny part here where he calls out the fact that Sharon had to take a crap herself.
Why can't I lift the lid?
Don't, Randy!
Hey guys, your mom took a shit and doesn't want me to see it.
Ew!
Gross, Dad! Randy, we need to get a new toilet.
We can't just get rid of Old Blue, Sharon.
So it's at this point Sharon tells Randy, look, you gotta go to Home Depot and get us a toilet. And Randy does just that. He goes to Home Depot to buy a new toilet. So he has an interaction there with the Home Depot salesman back and forth about the different toilet models. And Randy explains to him twice that he's not poor. After doing so, the salesman eventually does show Randy the Japanese toilet section. It's all treated like a VIP. It's got a guard there, velvet rope. Randy walks through the velvet rope. He sees this showroom of toilets kind of set up like a car showroom, art dealer, a jewelry. I was like, oh, it's like a Tesla dealership or something like that, but with toilets.
Can I offer you some sparkling water or champagne?
Oh, sure, I'll take some champagne.
So after trying to contain himself, Randy eventually does give in and he tries one of the toilet model sample bathrooms and he falls in love. So he does buy this toilet.
Okay, how much?
It's then delivered by a number of Japanese individuals, we have to assume, from the company who make this toilet. As they come there and they install it. At this point, Randy informs Sharon that he spent $10,000 on this toilet, which Sharon freaks out, of course. And then Randy's like, look, just try the toilet. So she tries this toilet and she's like, oh. And Randy's like, oh. Stan's like, can I try the toilet? He's like, no, not now, Stan.
Try it, Sharon.
I want to try it.
So now we begin the second part of the story in this episode, as Stan now returns to school the next day after getting that toilet, and the rest of the school starts to basically treat Stan almost like a pariah. He now becomes the most hated kid at school. He's belittled for the expensive piece of plumbing that his father purchased and now that they own. Cartman even tells him straight up, "You don't care, Stan."
Stan, just so you know, nobody gives a shit.
A random person comes up and just belligerently degrades him.
Did you know some people can't even afford to eat? How about caring for something that matters, you bitch?
Jimmy comes up and advises him not to talk about his new wealthy purchase, and Stan's like, dude, I haven't even said anything. I just walked in the door, right? Jimmy's like, well, that's not what's going around. And Stan's like, well, what are you talking about? And he learns that the night before, after purchasing said toilet, Randy had called and informed all of the parents, i.e. his friends, i.e. Stan's parents' friends, that he purchased a wealthy and a $10,000 toilet. So now all the kids hate their family, essentially, or basically hate Stan because he's the one there, right, receiving the brunt end of it.
Dude, I haven't even said anything. Well, your dad called everyone last night and told them you have a $10,000 toilet. What?
We then come back over to the farm. We see Randy, and he's invited his friends over for, like a rich brunch where they've got all the different hors d'oeuvres stationed in a fountain-like manner to, little sandwiches and whatnot, little hors d'oeuvres. And he encourages all of his friends, essentially, to eat this food and, of course, drink the coffee that's there, so that way he can get them to use the toilet, so that way he can get them to experience the toilet. And he eventually does get Stephen Stotch, Butter's dad, to try the toilet.
What was that? Oh, that's the welcome music for my Japanese toilet.
I've heard of those. Aren't they expensive?
Yeah, a bit. But for those of us who can afford it, it's well worth it.
By the sound of it, he loves it, but we don't get to further explore what all of his friends thought of the toilet as Stan then rushes in. Randy's like, oh, I thought you were at school. And then Stan and Randy have a very comical interaction back and forth with Stan asking and questioning Randy, what the hell are you doing? Says, what the fuck are you doing? Because he wants to know why he's calling everybody and gloating, and why now people at school are calling Stan Richie Rich.
The f*** are you doing?
What are you doing?
You need to stop gloating to everybody.
I am not gloating.
Yes, you are, and now kids at school are calling me Richie Rich.
Randy at first seems amused by that, or at least he's he's proud that his son is called Richie Rich, right? Because he spent this $10,000 toilet. But then he tries to tell Stan they're like the Kennedys and they're just trying to, make the world a better place. So now we come back from that commercial break and Randy is visited by his proctologist. He's concerned that Randy hasn't visited the office in multiple days, to check on hemorrhoids and other things. So he figured he would go ahead and, make a house visit before his trip to Tuscany. Randy informs him that he's no longer going to need him, that he's got a Japanese toilet. He even encourages the proctologist to go ahead and check it out. The proctologist does, and unfortunately for Randy, the proctologist does not like that toilet, and he starts to, kick it and try to destroy it. Randy stops him, throws him off the farm, and makes the comment, I never realized you made so much money off my ass, as the proctologist admits that he's not going to be able to take his wife to Tuscany anymore, because if Randy, of course, doesn't visit the doctor, then how does he make that money?
Here. How am I supposed to tell my wife we can't afford to go to Tuscany now?
So we start to see the trickle effect here. What happens when one person changes their toilet usage? How many people's jobs could come to an end? Now back at school, the harassment continues for Stan, as even Butters gets in on the action here, and he rips Stan a new one.
You're just a really good friend, Stan, and I was going to ask if maybe I could borrow your plunger cost.
What's a plunger cost?
It doesn't cost nothing when your toilet's nice as yours, Richie Rich! I did it! I called Stan Richie Rich too! That was fun!
And Jimmy then informs Stan, or at least tries to make clear that toilet paper industry itself is a huge big business, and that his dad should probably stay clear from it.
The average American uses 140 rolls of toilet paper per year. Can you even begin to imagine how many trees that is? To supply the United States with toilet paper, it takes 31.1 million trees per year. 1 million acres per year of precious Canadian boreal forest alone, releasing upwards of 25 metric tons of CO2 and leveling 90% of the land barren.
So in typical South Park writing, the very next scene, we see Randy attempting to give a speech supporting Japanese toilets, and more importantly, the use of bidets itself to reduce toilet paper usage. Now, there's only like 10 to 12 people there in the crowd. However, while doing so, all of a sudden out of nowhere, Randy is just shot. Kind of shocking. I was not expecting him to get shot.
Holy shit!
Randy?
Now in the hospital, we see Randy as he can only speak some sort of, I guess it would be Japanese gibberish, as he's fallen into a coma. This leads to Stan saying that he now understands what his dad was trying to do and will take up the mantle to fight against toilet paper.
Dad, I'm sorry I yelled at you before. I didn't know you were really trying to help.
Konnichiwa!
Stan, where are you going?
I let Dad down once. Somebody has to pick up where he left off.
So we go to our third commercial break in the episode with us coming back with Stan now in the police station, asking them, what are they going to do to catch the shooter? So Officer Yates assures them that they take this crime seriously. So just then another officer informs them that the proctologist has taken hostages in the Japanese toilet section of the Home Depot, and he does so in fear of the fact that he's going to have the crime pinned on him. So they rush over to Home Depot, and we find out that he believes that the TP industry is going to set him up, meaning that they're going to place the blame on the proctologist for shooting Randy as a way to get vengeance because Randy stopped using these toilets.
Would you like some sparkling water or champagne?
Get out of here!
He says the TP industry did the same thing 2 years ago when a second grader wrote a story about the industry itself in the school paper.
They'll fix things like they always do!
Who will?
They'll use their lawyers and their power to make it all go away, just like they did back when that second grade kid wrote a story in the school paper about toilets 2 years ago.
Stan realizes that, hey, 2 years ago, second grader, and who could that person be? Well, by gosh, it's Jimmy Bulmer. So Stan realizes that Jimmy was the one who wrote the article and returns to him once more. He chases after him. So Stan questions on who shot his dad. Jimmy breaks down and finally discusses the toilet paper industry in depth, talks about everything that was taken away from him, and he also discusses how the toilet paper industry itself does not want Japanese toilets or advanced technology in the toilet industry itself to take place in America because it hurts their bottom line, i.e. profit.
Follow the money. 140 rolls per American per year. Factories pushing out roll after roll while raising Earth's resources. All of this for an unsanitary product that's been proven to contribute to anal fishes. Don't you get it, man? Paper doesn't clean bacteria. It can't stop viruses. With all that information, you'd think the World Health Organization would do studies to find alternatives. So why don't they? Because toilet paper is an industry worth billions and billions of dollars.
We then go back to City Hall again. We see Stan delivering a speech to the crowd about the toilet industry. He gets them all riled up, and then just then Randy interrupts him and does kind of a complete 180 and says, no, we're sorry, we're going to get out of here. He gets all close to the mic, goes, sorry about that, yep, we're going to get out of here. We apologize, South Park, we love you, toilet paper industry. Stan's like, what are you doing? And Randy's like, dude, I got effing shot. So Stan's like, basically doesn't fight back here, and Randy gets him and the town itself to kind of break the fourth wall here as he and the citizens of South Park apologize to the toilet paper companies.
I think all of South Park would like to apologize.
We retract what we said about toilet paper companies. They have done nothing but help us, and we're sorry.
South Park, everyone say you're sorry.
We're sorry.
Okay, great. Come on, guys, let's go home.
And then the episode ends with Randy going back out into the backyard of his farm, digging up Old Blue, the toilet, reinstalls it back into the bathroom, and then he gives this speech on luxury. And you kind of feel like it's going to be heartfelt about how, once you start buying a lot of high-end items, then those high-end items start to feel like they are meaningless. Thus, they become normal, and thus you feel like you have to continue to upgrade more and more. So basically, his mindset being, or his statement, that it's kind of greedy, right? Because once you start buying one high-end item, it's going to lead you for that dopamine fix to want to go and buy more high-end items. And thus, he resolves in saying that it's best to stick with the beat-up old crap things we have, and then kisses his wife, Sharon, and that's how we end the episode by saying that he loves you, babe. Kind of giving her the look, or making the anecdote there that she is the beat-up old crappy thing as well.
When you have some big, nice luxury thing, it eventually just becomes normal. But you start comparing it to all the other things in your life, which suddenly feel you have to upgrade too. So it's really best to just stick with the beat-up, crappy old things we have. Love you forever, honey.
And that's how the episode ends. So ultimately, I thought this was another great episode from South Park here in season 26. Each episode has kind of given us some classic South Park writing and comedy, as well as them sprinkling in some of their references to prior jokes from seasons past. In this episode itself, I found Randy comical in just typical Randy fashion, and him wanting to, of course, prove his wealth, just like the Kennedys, so that way he could purchase a high-end item and be seen, as a lot of Americans do. We purchase these high-end items, from cars to houses to electronics to vacations to properties, just so we can be seen in the public eye as a rich person. So I did like the fact that Randy's character did go through a little bit of a metamorphosis here, as in the beginning of the episode, he's all giddy and excited to purchase this Japanese toilet, show it to his friends, push him on the fact that he's better than everyone. But by the end of the episode, after getting shot, he realizes that in the end, big business is going to win, and it's best just to keep your mouth shut. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for another edition of SMB, a South Park review. You can catch each and every episode every Wednesday as well. Every Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon-ish, we usually drop a brand new episode. Right now, we're into season 11. We're just about to finish up Imagination Land, as we finished up Imagination Land Part 1 and Part 2. So next week, we'll be dropping Part 3. But if you would like, you can catch up on all 167 podcast episodes just by going to SouthParkPod on your favorite podcast outlet, or just by typing it right here on that YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe button, and you'll be notified when more content drops. I'm your host, The Heat, and I can't be beat. I'm your guy who's high where the air is dry, your boy, MSG. We'll check you out next time on another edition of SMB, a South Park review. It's been my pleasure. Bye-bye.